What's up, folks? Welcome back to Frenkit's channel. In today's video, we will see how to set up our brake caliper. It is crucial to note that it is a very important element within our vehicle. Therefore, we will have to follow the steps on the repair process rigorously. This caliper we have here is from a first generation Honda CR-V, which has been used for many years. This car was produced from 1997 to 2001. This one is from 1999. And as we can see, the status of the caliper is not optimal at all. The caliper support does not slide, which may mean that the guide pins are rusty or stuck with dirt. But first, we will see what tools we will use. We are going to need a ratchet wrench with a 14 head, an 11 wrench, a flat-typed screwdriver, a brass wire brush, a cotton bud and alcohol, a compressor to extract the piston, a brake piston repositioner, the 257917 piston kit, the 811006 guide pin kit, and the 901208 brake pad accessory kit. With all of this, we already have everything we need to get started. We begin the disassembly by taking out the pads. To separate the body from the caliper support, we will decouple the guide pins in our swivel vise. With a ratchet wrench and a head of 14, we will remove the screws that hold the guides and the connection port. If they are very rusty and you cannot remove them, you can use loosening lubricant. And if with this we do not get it, it can be dilated with blowtorch so that the oxide takes off. The entire caliper is filled with brake fluid, so try to use the necessary clothing. We recommend wearing safety gloves and goggles. We remove the guide pins and guide pin boots. This second is more stuck. Here we can see that the surface is graded. Probably dirty has entered and has produced the graded. If the guide pin boots deteriorate or breaks, it is very easy for the components to rust and therefore jam. We remove the brake pad accessories by hand or by levering up and leave the bracket without components. We seize the opportunity and remove this plate from the body of the guide. Now we need to get the piston out. To do this, we will use an air compressor to make it easier. If we do not have one, it could be pulled out by levering with two flat-tipped screwdrivers. As the piston will come out strongly, we will have to insufflate the air little by little in the house intel port and protect the caliper with a stop so that it does not shoot out. Be very careful not to put your fingers between the piston and the stop we have put. Once we have removed the piston, we also remove the caliper boot. It seems to be quite deteriorated. However, the piston is acceptable by the work area, somewhat dirty, but in good conditions. We remove the cap, and with the wrench remove the purge. If it's very stuck, once again we use loosening lubricant. Finally, we remove the caliper seal with a screwdriver. Careful not to grate the inside of the cylinder. We will use a tipless Frenkit tool. So far, it will be all the disassemble of the caliper. Now we move on to cleaning or replacing all components. Cleaning or replacement, where appropriate, are essential. It is very important that all components are in perfect conditions, as it will increase the life of our brake. To do this, we will clean the entire caliper with a bucket and alcohol, since with water we accelerate the oxidation process. The inside of the cylinder should be clean and rust-free. If you had some rust, you could use a fine-grain paper, sandpaper. In the blog of our website, we show different methods and how we do it. However, if they had shape failure, such as cracks, perforation, or rust, the entire caliper will have to be changed because it is very difficult to repair. The exterior can also be cleaned with a brush or blowing process, so that aesthetically it looks better. Where it will be necessary to clean up is from the slot of the caliper seal to the outside, where roughness is not critical. Here goes the caliper boot. If we want the outside of our caliper not to rust again, we will have to give it an antioxidant primer or paint it with an antioxidant paint. In the caliper support, we find the holes of the guide pins. To clean the oil grease and debris, we will use some cotton bud. This part can be more complicated as the cap is thin and will take quite a while for it to be perfectly clean. To make a comparison, Here's the twin caliper. This has been cleaned with sandblast and subsequently brushed with a brass grinder. Similarly, the piston and guide pins must be in good conditions. No material failure, no surface oxide. Frenkit offers more than 700 pistons and 250 types of guide pins that cover more than 5,000 different calipers. So we recommend changing such component as reusing them could be problematic depending on its conditions. To carry out the assembly, we will follow the steps of disassembly, but in the opposite way. With these Frenkit kits, we can replenish all the components of the caliper, being this one the kit with the piston, this is the kit of the guide pins, and this is the kit of the brake pad accessories. First, we will put the caliper seal in the caliper slot. When we will put the piston in, we will grease it. We will tighten the perch until it fixed by buttoning. We will tighten the perch until it fixed by buttoning. If we have a torque wrench, we can tighten it according to the specifications of the caliper manufacturer. Usually not too high a pair is required. Time to put the piston in. To do this, we pre-place the caliper boot at the base of the piston. There are many types of caliper boots, and the way to place them are different. In future videos, we will show how. Now we impregnate the outside surface of the piston. Also the inside of the caliper by the caliper seal. And finally insert the rubber into the caliper. To put the piston in, we can do it by hand or with the piston repositioner. It will work both to insert pistons and to remove those that have mechanisms. If you want to see the type of brakes calipers that exist, check out our previous videos. Initially, it will be hard to put it in, as it must pass the seal, but then it will be easier. We make sure the caliper boot is well placed in the piston throat. This is the brake pad accessories kit for this caliper. We put both accessories on the support and on the body of the caliper. We put a tab in and then move it up to fit in. We will have to make sure that the accessories are well hooked. That is, that they do not move. Finally, we will use the guide kit with all the necessary elements. This is the grace of guides, which is different from the piston one. These dust boots are first mounted on the caliper so that they do not separate. They keep fixed. With the grease that comes in the guide kit, we impregnate the outside of both guides and put them in the caliper support. It is possible that air that stays inside will make pressure, so we will have to release the air. It should have this movement, a little bouncing. All we must do is screw the guides to the base around here. First, we screw both, and with a ratchet wrench we screw it until they are fixed. We check the support to slide and work properly so that the disc fits in the operating position. And so, we will finish repairing our brake. Thank you all very much. We hope you liked the video and try to do it by your own. And you know, if you want more content like this, subscribe to our channel and share it. Add in the comments which calipers and vehicles you prefer in future videos.